This is an awesome. This is an awesome idea. Hey everyone, Danny here. Welcome to 3D Max Builds. I've tried different methods to take measurements to properly scale my 3D prints. One of my favorite methods is using Uncle Jesse's files based on Nikko Industries caliper. I've also made my own changes to make this method even easier. Let's get started. Before going over the modifications I made to these calipers to make them even easier to use, I'll show you some of the other methods I've tried so you have some options to choose what works best for you. One option is to print a portion of the helmet or part that you're printing and test that size. You can cut the parts in your slicer or CAD program. I cut mine with the tools in Bamboo Lab Studio. I slice the file and print that piece. Then just check the size to see how it looks. One problem with this method is that you're still just guessing and you might need to adjust and print a few times just to get it right. Plus you'll need to repeat the process for every time you're doing a new print. Another method is to use a fabric measuring tape to get the circumference of your head. If you don't have one, you could also use a string and then just measure the string after. Then select the matching size of these 3D printed heads. They're made by Budwin and they're available on Thingiverse and printables. I'll put the links to these in the video description. After you download the correct size for your head, bring it into your slicer. This will give you a good reference and you can position and size your helmet to fit. Now this will get you close, but the issue with only measuring the circumference of your head is that everybody has a different shaped head. My head might be wider or narrower than someone else's head. Another option is to find a free 3D scanning app and scan your head. So far I haven't found one that I liked. If you don't have proper lighting or you don't get the right angles, there might be issues with the model. Plus I don't know if I would trust how accurate the size is anyway. And that brings us back to Uncle Jesse's files. With this method you can go side to side, top to bottom, front to back, and after each of those measurements you use a ruler or tape measure and you measure it again. Once you have the measurements, you can use the measuring tools in your slicer to check dimensions and resize as necessary. This method and tool works great, but I made a change to make it even easier and save some steps. Uncle Jessy makes some very useful files, so I started by downloading his calipers. He even provided his Tinkercad files for anyone to apply and share their own tweaks, so that's what I did. I opened the files in Tinkercad and added the measurements right on the tool itself. Now there's no need to measure a second time with a ruler or tape measure. Plus I put the measurements in millimeters, so there's no need to convert them for your slicer. I did make the files so they can fit on my Bamboo P1S, so you can print them on a 256 by 256 print bed or larger. It's very easy to put these together after printing. First you take the plug and then insert it into the top piece from the front. You should be able to bend the plug enough to fit it through. Then take the bottom piece and do the same. And there you go. It shows you the measurements from 0 to 300 millimeters, which is about 1 foot. Keep in mind you can't resize the print files because it'll throw off the measurements and not be accurate. You can also use it to measure your arms. I believe this size is large enough for everyone unless someone needs larger measurements like for chest armor. Let me know in the comments if you need me to make a larger version as well. And instead of measuring the helmet in the slicer, I'll use those same sizing heads from Budwin. So now I can measure from side to side and I make sure to get my ears in there too. 175 millimeters, front to back, 210 millimeters, and top to bottom, I go from the bottom of my neck to match the head sizing file, and that's about 290 millimeters. I open the sizing head in the slicer, then I unlink the scaling dimensions and update each to match. What's nice too is that you only need to do this once. In your slicer, you can export your file. Change the file type to STL, name it, and save. And now that you have the head saved, it'll be much easier to scale your helmets. Just set the position, resize, and check all angles until you're happy with how it looks. So just by modifying some existing tools and ideas from Uncle Jessy, Nikko Industries, and Budwin, I was able to come up with an easier way to scale my helmets and also share them with you. There are links to everything that you need in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and check this out next. Thank you for watching.